Hello everyone, welcome back to the Learning Highway. In the last two videos of my Understanding Evolution series, which are linked in the description, Hello everyone, welcome back to the Learning Highway. This is the third and final video in my Understanding Evolution series. In the first video, we covered the fundamental mechanisms and genetics that drive evolution. In the second video, we learned about how evolution plays out in the real world. But did you wonder how we know that evolution happens? Well, we'll cover that in this video, the main pieces of evidence for evolution. These are the embryos of a fish, a salamander, and a tortoise. And these are the embryos of a rabbit, a chicken, and a human. Did you notice something? All 6 embryos look almost exactly the same, despite how distantly related these animals are. They share many of the same anatomical features too. For example, even the ones that aren't fish will have something like gill slits at one point. If evolution wasn't true, all embryos would take the fastest and easiest way of development, wouldn't they? Yet, because of the DNA we share with other vertebrates, our embryos gain many features we don't need and later discard them. And so do the embryos of other vertebrates, of course. These are the embryos of a fish, a salamander, and a tortoise. Second proof, the fossil record. Despite the fact that fossilization is very rare, which is why the fossil record is very incomplete, it still shows clear evidence of evolution. For example, let's look at the fossil record for whales. The first whales were, surprisingly, dog-sized mammals like this one. They lived around 50 million years ago. By 40 million years ago, most whales are like this one. You can still probably see the resemblance between this one and its previous ancestors, but it looks a little bit more adapted for marine life, right? By 30 million years ago, most whales looked like this. Again, a little bit more adapted for marine life, but still it shows a resemblance to its ancestors. By 20 million years ago, most whales had this general body plan, just as they do today. It's not that they've stopped evolving, of course. It's just that one aspect of their biology, general body plan, has stayed the same over this time, mostly. Anyway, now we can see in logical steps how something as unbelievable as a dog-like creature evolving into massive whales could happen. And it's all because of the fossil record. Okay, now we've established that the fossil record clearly shows the evolution of living things over time. But the fossil record doesn't show anything about the time scales on which it happened. What if living things just evolve like Pokemon? Clearly, fossils aren't enough to paint an evolutionary history of life. We need a way to date the fossils, and we have just that, radiometric dating. To understand radiometric dating, we must first understand that some atoms decay. Atoms that decay, or split into 2 smaller atoms, are called unstable isotopes. Every unstable isotope has a half-life. A half-life is the time it takes for half the atoms in a given sample of unstable isotopes to decay. For example, the atom uranium-235 has a half-life of 700 million years. So that means, say I had a sample of 1,000 uranium-235 atoms. Within 700 million years, 500 of them would have decayed, so 500 would be left. And in another 700 million years, 250 would be left. Then, another 700 million years, 125 would be left. You see how this works? The number just keeps cutting in half. Keep in mind, the numbers I gave were statistical figures, so it's not going to work out exactly that way all the time. For example, after the first 700 million years, I might have 501 atoms left in my sample, or 499. And when I have just one atom left, it's going to decay after a few million years and I'll have nothing left in my sample. Of course, I can't reduce to half an atom. But if the half-lives of some atoms are like hundreds of millions of years, how would scientists know them? Well, that involves a lot of complicated quantum physics, which I won't go over here, but I'll link some material on that in the description. But still, you might have questions. What if the rate of decay was different at various times in the Earth's past? Well, for that to happen, the laws of physics themselves would have to change, which we know is impossible. Okay, how about contamination? But scientists measure the quantities of many different unstable isotopes in a single rock. If any of them was abnormally high or low, scientists would know of contamination or mixing. Okay, now we understand how the fossil record paints a clear picture of the evolution and distribution of life forms in all of Earth's past. And we understand how we know the time scales on which it happened. But is there a way we can verify evolution by looking at living things here and now? Yes, indeed. Let's once again look at the anatomy of whale. Look at that flipper. That looks so similar to a paw or a hand or a... Look at that whale flipper. It looks so much like a hand or a foot or a paw, right? And don't the blowholes look suspiciously like nostrils that moved upward? Even though whales look like they were designed to live in the water, they share a lot of features with other land-living mammals that aren't the best adaptations for the ocean. Even though whales look like they were designed to live in the water, they share a lot of features with other land-living mammals that aren't the best adaptations for the ocean. This shows that they fit within the mammal family tree, and it also, of course, shows evidence of evolution. It's not just whales who have features of their ancestors that may be slightly inconvenient for them. Snakes, humans, many other creatures do too. Okay, now we've seen evidence of evolution right inside living things. But have we demonstrated how this could work on a fundamental and theoretical level? Again, yes. I won't go over the details here, but scientists have worked out lots of math, molecular biology, genetics. For example, the evolution of the eye. Scientists have used a computer simulation that near perfectly resembles the conditions found in nature, and after they let it run for some time on fast motion, of course, it showed that eyes could evolve in a few million years. These computer simulations and math show that small-scale and large-scale evolution is in fact inevitable in any population or species, given enough time. Alright, let's recap. We learned the main pieces of evidence for evolution: the fossil record, radiometric dating, anatomical features shared by embryos, which may be inconvenient for them, anatomical features shared by living things, which also may be inconvenient for them, the math, computer simulations, and molecular biology, which shows that it is entirely possible and inevitable. Woohoo, you made it to the end of the Understanding Evolution series. Now you have a basic grasp of the process that is fundamental to all life on Earth. Feels good, doesn't it? Thanks for watching, and as always, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to my channel. Bye! See you next time!